We're back to the Neil Haley Show. My guest today is author Grace Lynx Jenkins. Her new book, Sight, coming out on May 26th. Grace, thanks for stopping by again. And we're getting closer. You're getting excited.
Yes, thank you for having me back. And I'm very excited. I'm reaching out to different places. Hopefully, I can get into some book signings. So, if you want a signed copy, I am happy to give you one.
Yeah, you get a signed copy of her book by going. Soon will be available at the website gracelynxjenkins.com. And let's go really quickly. Grace, we've talked about the synopsis of the book and everything and the whole process. What do you think is going to be the most surprise or suspense, without giving it away, about the book? What kind of gives you that thought process? You know that's going to happen for when you write.
I think, as far as surprise and suspense, it's going to be probably within the thinking about the symbolism of things, going through, looking at what the other self is, what that monster in Noah's nightmares is, what it symbolizes, how Noah interacts with it. That's going to be, I think, one of the more suspenseful ones. Also, when they finally solve the mystery, or at least begin to piece it together.
Who does Noah remind you in another character in another lifetime?
Hmm, that's a very good question. I've never really thought
Out
of.
of superpowers, because definitely has powers. Who would you think about? Would be like Noah.
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure on that one. Personally, it would be a character who maybe has to learn how to deal with their own internal struggles, um, and has to endure some sort of self growth. So, one of the most important aspects of this book is obviously Noah and his journey through overcoming these obstacles within himself. And for me, I think that a lot of characters who embody that would probably be the ones that Noah most resonates with. To be honest, most of the time, whenever I'm writing my characters, I don't really think in terms of what characters that they're like as far as characters in other works. What I really think of when I write them is who they kind of remind me of in real life. Where do I see these traits? What kind of people do I see these traits in? Do I see these traits in myself? So it's, for me, more about capturing personalities accurately within my book.
What about his superpower? Talk about his superpower.
Okay, so his power is that he can literally see through other people's eyes at the cost of absorbing their emotions. And of course, when you have a power like that, there are going to be issues such as, okay, well, if I'm absorbing all these emotions, how do I cope with that?
Mm-hmm.
How do I interact with other people? Because some people, if they have strong enough personalities, you can just be pulled into their sight. So Noah might be just minding his own business, doing something throughout the day. He passes by a person who's got a very strong, dominant personality, and he gets pulled in. And that can be very exhausting. So there are scenes that depict how is he dealing with this on a personal level.
Right. Exactly. How is he dealing with it? And is he dealing with it right?
Yeah,
And some, I mean,
exactly.
I think that that character seems so interesting because if he's able to see what that person feels and take on their emotions, he's having powers, but really not able to cope with things. The more and more emotions he gets.
Yeah, exactly. He, the more that he has to deal with it, the more it's going to stack up. And the thing is, you see this all the time in real life as well. where something will happen and then something else will happen. And it just keeps stacking and stacking and stacking. And you can't ignore that forever. If you ignore it, it will just keep building up and eventually it will release at some point.
And definitely release. But you don't have there been characters you've watched that at least take people's emotions? Have you seen that?
Um,
Maybe Marvel or something, maybe a character potentially had that.
I think so. Maybe it's been a little while since I've really watched a lot of television.
Ah, okay. But so you came up with this idea yourself, and I think it's really good character idea. Because imagine being a superhero yet dealing with everyone's emotions. What if he has too many emotions? What's going to happen? That's what we have to find out in the book.
Yeah, exactly. That is one of the big questions that again has to be answered through reading. Um, I think that a lot of the themes as well, the underlying current will resonate. I think it will resonate on a very deep level with people, especially people who are dealing with very intense emotions or who are dealing with others constantly shoving things in their faces. It's very much meant to be a response to that, a grounded response, but still a response to that. And okay, what are some healthy ways that we could address this, and what are some unhealthy ways that we should avoid?
Right. And the healthy versus the unhealthy.
Yes, exactly. Because there's different ways that you can respond to something. If something bad happens, the only thing that you can control is yourself. And some people may respond in a productive way, in a good way, and sometimes this happens with everyone, even me. We respond in a counterproductive way that only leads to the detriment of yourself and others around you. And it can be very difficult at times, especially in the moment, because you're trying to get a grasp on your own emotions and maybe all of these other things are building up. So it's very interesting to see that dynamic play out within fiction and to see how that parallels reality for so many people.
It totally
Especially,
does.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I again, I think that talking about other characters next week, we're winding down 18 days till the book comes out. But I find this character fascinating to try to discover that, learning more about who Noah is and what makes him tick. But you got to purchase the book. And there are opportunities to pre-order it very, very soon by going to gracelynxjenkins.com and you can pre-order the book. So I'm excited, Grace, about the book coming out and how people can go ahead and get it.
Yes, I'm excited too.
All
I'm
right.
excited.
Perfect. All right. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.